Welcome back to Break the Record Live, Dark Souls Remastered. My name is Bowie the Hero. I'm joined by Ash, Duck, and Kermit. Three wonderful people from the Dark Souls community is going to be helping us take you through 3 days of action. We have just returned, and you can see that we got a time of 107.43 from Catalyst, who just finished up their time, and Alkzu with a 109.07. So all we have left right now is Iron Boy, who's currently finishing up their first no reset. The other guys are just going to take a quick break, and then they'll be jumping back into runs when they can. So yeah, this is a 3-day time trial marathon where our runners will have 12 hours every day to try and post the best possible time they can in Dark Souls Remastered All Bosses category. Thank you very much to our sponsors, Kaspersky, who provided the $5,000 prize pool, and to Twitch as well for helping make the event possible. So yeah, we've got 3 days of a lot of action, and Iron Boy is just jumping into the Centipede Demon fight now. But yeah, welcome back. We have another little section here. From this point on, we'll be taking breaks. We'll be letting you know when we're taking breaks, but we're going to be breaking the event up into sections as we can. But don't worry, if there's any important action we want to catch, we'll make sure to make that our priority. But yeah, back into the action we go.
Yeah, so Iron Boy, the last one of the no reset races to finish up here, still has Isola segment, and since Iron Boy did a different sort of sequence of bosses, he will still need to go and do Priscilla and Gwendolyn before he gets over to Gwen. So I'm just going to be curious, like how this is going to go throughout the entirety of the events as well.
Yeah.
Like sequences.
So like I think I was kind of wondering about, and Kermit perhaps can kind of talk to me about this. Obviously there are different orders for bosses that runners will do. There all are obviously like the more preferred ones, the more optimal ones. Kind of like at what point will runners tend to kind of like shift from a, like, for example, Iron Boy's doing like the approach he's doing. Is that one of those things that the top times are competitive with this route, or is it one of those ones where at some point he will need to shift around that order as he gets better to kind of push those times further?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm very sure, yeah, he'd probably have to just switch over to the route everyone else is running. I don't know if this is just for his no reset run he's doing this route, because he's most comfortable with it and he just wants to get any time out, and then he'll switch to the more standard route. I'm not actually sure.
I think this is just the route that Iron Boy does.
Yeah.
I've seen him do late gargoyle stuff before. I don't know the exact timings on it, but I would suspect it's a slower route.
Yeah.
Because basically what he does right at the beginning is normally you would activate the elevator in Parish and then run to gargoyles from there, because at that point you're the closest you're going to be to gargoyles. You don't have to do any extra running, and the fight is pretty quick. So generally you just get that out of the way. But he just gets on the elevator and then just warps out. And so later on he has to run back to do gargoyles. But he does skip, well, he doesn't skip, but he gets a faster stray demon fight in exchange, which does save some time. But whether it's enough, I don't know.
Should we note as well that the whole approach is now underway? Dan Flesh is already into his no resets. He's started another run there. Yeah. Back in the asylum he goes after I think he got through to the Undead Berg once, I think, and immediately started a reset. So you'll see a very different approach when we're not doing the no resets. Ash was saying earlier that this is a very reset heavy game. There's loads and loads of things that can go wrong in many locations, as it can with a lot of speedruns, of course, but it always manifests its way differently. So you're going to see a lot of that stuff happening a lot more. Again, the no reset is just to get a time on the board. The standings have now been updated. You can see, well, I mean, with the newer time. So anyone who had a faster time, they've been re-updated with the time they've got in the event. So Nax's will change eventually, and so will Iron Boy's when he gets his. But yeah, Dan Flesh currently with the 105.32 is the fastest in event PB. These will be updated when every run has done a run. I know it's confusing at first, but it'll make sense before the end of the day's end when everyone's finished a run. But yeah, don't worry. It will all become clear.
It's important to note with the runs that we're going to be doing throughout the course of these 3 days is the first 18 minutes are the most brutal. which is probably where we're going to see most of the resets. And obviously, depending on their time, whether they have PB potential or no time at all to sort of like lose, you will see them also doing resets.
Yeah, I find this really interesting as well, because we have on our stats page, we've got like a reset per split thing where you can see where the majority of the resets are. And in like a lot of speedruns, the first split is like really like the one that everyone's resetting on. But funnily enough, like the big three at the beginning is not the opening split because it's so quick and so simple, I guess. But Tauros Demon, Gargoyles, of course, and then the next big one is, as you say, the 18-minute mark is Ornstein and Smog. It's like, you know, those are the big ones. Like that first 18 minutes is like super important, as you were saying. But like, I think it's maybe as well because ONS seems to be quite a long split. There's a lot to do in that whole segment, so a lot needs to go in your favor.
It's fairly long, but the main thing is just the fight itself is really random.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you know, you can just lose so much time that you don't want to continue. And sometimes, yeah, you start losing time and then you gamble on something and you just die. Like you could play it safe, but you just lose too much time. Like at that point, it's probably already like, you know, half dead run in your head at that point.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm
also
not going to make this time back.
Undead Burg is not a fun place to run through at all. You can just even lower Dead Burg. It's not one of the most fun starts to, let's say, a Dark Souls speedrun to have to go through the area first.
Yeah, this is one of the sad things of the magic route is that you do have to do lower Undead Burg because you need Griggs and the spells. But somewhat more importantly, you need the Bellowing Ring. And full control for some of the skips, but Dan taking some arrows as he goes into the Taurus fight. And you'll see now they're doing no resets, he's just doing the bandit knife start. No scimitar comfiness involved anymore. Anyway, you still do quite a lot of damage because almost all of your damage is coming from the buff this early on. You get a little bonus from bleed damage, which is an effect that the dagger or the bandit knife has, but most of your damage is coming from the resin.
PB pace though for Dan, look at that, 3.1 seconds ahead. Get excited. This is it.
See what happens here. This is
he's not doing the baking outs. Yeah.
Oh, he's gonna take damage. But, oh no, he didn't take damage. He just got knocked. Yeah. That's just, that's something that can happen.
Something we didn't see earlier on in the runs. Oh, did he get a no more glitch?
Yeah.
No, he didn't go for the one shot.
Oh, okay.
Oh, he didn't. Oh, I thought he was
nice snipe.
for the text shop. That was
No. He didn't get a one shot. I don't know what he did, but I don't know if he went with a soul spear attack instead of a dark bead or something. But he didn't get a one shot, so no moon glitch potential by doing that. That was a good snipe though.
Yeah, so making his way down to Gwendolyn and then Gwyn.
Yeah.
To finish up the run.
I'd looked away for the smallest amount of time and really thought he'd gotten the one glitch. Just have been so bad. Just, you know, he's so far into the run, he's on his second last split.
That's why this run is so disheartening. I guess, especially when you have it. I would say like the ordering for Iron Boy is curious in that way because if you get the the moan glitch earlier on, you know the run is dead and you won't have to invest yourself in the entirety of it. But since he has it in one of his last segments, that's even worse. Like you're just about to close your run, you just have Gwyn left, Gwendolyn and Gwyn left, and then you get the glitch. That's disheartening.
See, and going for the fire bombs and not quite getting the hit on the gargoyle. This is something that was mentioned earlier, was using a firebomb to try and get a tail cut. He still got the tail cut, but didn't get the firebomb damage, so it's not quite as free of a fight. Ooh.
Yeah, getting smacked there. It's a really interesting setup because you toss a firebomb and it cuts his tail, and the cutting of the tail makes him turn around from you, which allows you to like hit gargoyles freely, and that's kind of like the cycle that you want with gargs, but it's a little bit finicky to kind of like set up.
Yeah, actually getting the tail cut from the bomb is tricky. Kind of precise.
Pretty nice Gwendolyn.
Right.
Iron Boy. Iron Boy getting shrugs.
Iron Boy.
Gotta.
Oh,
what?
That's strange.
I don't know what's happened here.
I don't think I've ever seen that where you can't bone out.
What?
Or
What?
Yeah.
I was just confused as he is.
He's been pretty confused by it too.
Okay, it works now.
I have not seen that.
Yeah, I haven't seen that either.
That one's new. I've never seen that before. Is that what we're supposed to say?
Yeah. +1 to the quota filled. There we go. Nice.
You know, we should have a bingo sheet for this event.
Yeah.
Still, just I mean, Catalyst and Oldsku do still have their streams up. They are just enjoying that break, really leaning into that one. They'll be back shortly, hopefully. And an update for the other runners: Gentoffer, Mintius, and Nax. Currently, obviously, they have IRL reasons they couldn't make it for the no reset. So Mintius is probably going to be finishing work soonish, and then we'll be over to start up their runs as well. But yeah, we will be seeing everyone every single day. That just needs a little bit of time.
Yeah, I think. Was it like 4 a.m. where Nax is in Canada? So...
God, they're very far west, if so.
Yeah, I think he's in like BC maybe. So that side of Canada at least. So yeah, not the friendliest times, but I mean that's
yeah, it's kind of and
happen.
on a Friday too. It's why we can't also kind of be like, yeah, you must show up or it's game over. Yeah, so Iron Boy looking to finish up his run. He had a really nice start, really promising. I believe again these splits he's running against aren't his PB. He qualified with a 108, so pretty solid. But even then, you know, it looked pretty solid to kind of go alongside that, but then had a bit of an unfortunate mid game. And has been pretty much holding on to be alongside it, losing a bit of time here and there throughout, but nothing like, you know, hugely went wrong. You know, not like catastrophic levels of wrong, just, you know, not ideal levels of wrong. So yeah, from the potential that we've seen from Iron Boy so far, definitely looking to get that, you know, very comfortably sub 110 times, and maybe pushing to get like, you know, the 108, the 108s, 107s kind of, as we get the parry one shot.
I think it's gonna be really interesting to see, like, after some of these runs as well, with their golds in some of them, to see their best possible times, because that's always nice to monitor. And I'm kind of sad that, you know, we could probably like relay this information, but their best possible times will indicate just like how possible it is for them to get a certain time in their best segments.
Reminder as well, actually, that we do. Oh, by the way, gold split to finish. Let's go, Iron Boy. 118.35. GG's to them. They finished their run, and they're probably going to be taking their break and jumping in. So you know where we're going next, friends. You've guessed it. We're going to Mr. Flesh himself, Mr. Daniel Flesh. Yeah, a reminder as well that ESA Marathon 2 is currently live and has all the stats that is being collected from the runners' live splits as they're running. So if you want to kind of keep an update whilst watching Dan's run, you can have a look at Dan's stats, and you can see live updates of that as it goes through. Might be just some special information that might just help out in terms of like understanding how the run's going. But yeah, cool stuff.
So Dan doing the first major level up of the route. It's try to, you know, reduce the number of times. It's actually kind of a specific level up as well. Like he gets 51 intelligence, which is exactly how much you need for the Iron Golem strat without setting up RTSR. Like the first cast will stagger in one cast, and I think you do exactly 400. I think we found that if you had 50, it's not enough. It's like you have to have 51, which is just nice that it actually works out this way. You do get 1 level in strength, which you actually don't need until much later, but this is just the easiest time to just do it, get it out of the way. And no other level would make any difference, so you just get the strength level here.
It's popping back on.
Yeah, it's back. It's getting ready to start runs.
And there was me about to say, we only have one active runner, so let's go solo mode. No, we have Oldsku back. Thank you, Oldsku. You know what I can do, actually? I want to try the button. But the thing is, like, I don't want to try the button until it's fully updated, until everyone's done a run. But I do want to show the leaderboard. This is not updated. Love the leaderboard. Okay, yeah. Okay, there we go. Oldschool started. Yeah, so yeah, this is kind of like how the event's going to feel for the next few hours is resets. So if you like watching runners slam their heads against brick walls until it goes right for them that one time, then you're in the right place because and you're into the correct gaming hobby because speedrunning is very much like that. How many times do we have to see the same thing over and over again?
I feel like Remaster's a lot better though than Prepare to Die for seeing the same thing over and over.
So okay, because you brought it up, Kermit, and it was mentioned earlier as well from Ash. So it would be nice to kind of like for those who maybe haven't seen as much of like the difference in runs between every single edition, why don't you take us through like a couple of the things that are kind of specific about the remastered edition, because we are playing remastered. So what's unique about this particular version that isn't in previous ones?
The main thing that I was going to say is the resetting early game. Like we're seeing, through the Berg you get through pretty regularly in Remaster, but I'm not sure if it's in the current route still for Prepare to Die. But like trying to do the Undead Berg skip with the boxes is just like an awful place for resetting, and then trying to get the drop for a Black Knight Greatsword, which you don't need to do in Remaster. There's just two huge RNG dependent things, it seems like, within the first 5 minutes on Prepare to Die, but on Remaster there's just none of that in the start of the game.
Yeah, thankfully in the old bosses route now, there is no farming RNG you have to do. Punching the wall instead of Bob, as that crossbow archer is lovingly
named in the community. Yes.
All of the sort of any percent categories that aren't restricted in some other way all use the Black Knight halberd in the remaster, which is a random drop. So, Dan, no, he got 2 ticks of fire, and that's unfortunate.
Right on the edge.
Like he wants to take 1 hit, which will help him set up RTSR for Ornstein and Smo, but he obviously did not want to take 2.
I think it's important to mention, like, as well, like, other than just also Prepare to Die differences in Remastered, but like also just the toggles there are really important in running Dark Souls in general, because when you toggle out of a specific animation, you can cancel the animation. And you'll see this when people take drops, you'll see this when you're taking damage, when you're getting hit by enemies. Toggling out just means you just cancel the animation and just keep going on your merry way. And that's what he tried to do there. He toggled like the first part and just took a second to give damage.
Oh, but it's actually interesting. The positioning of the fire is different in the remaster.
I've heard that. There's like nuances in this game. Like, not only just those small differences, but apparently enemies behave differently in this game versus the Prepare to Die edition, which is weird because what was it? They like activate slightly sooner.
Yeah, it's strange. Like it's like sort of subtle ways. Sometimes they seem to aggro earlier than they would in Prepare to Die, which is especially noticeable if you've got like hidden body. There's some things you can just casually run past in Prepare to Die that are a bit scarier.
In the
Dan forgot
remaster.
something. Just jumped into the arena and reset. Oldschool, unfortunately, doing lower undead berg skip earlier, landed in a lower area that he didn't want to, so he reset there. So we got everyone doing Asylum, but hopefully we'll get another run of someone through Asylum soon. Well, not through Berg, let's say. Through Asylum should be fairly consistent, but Berg is the heavy reset.
Ooh, Danflesh just sorting out. He's looking at to take a moment as he's sorting something out with his live split.
Okay,
I think he just had to reconnect the live split, so it's back online. So he should be jumping into runs again. I think in the interest of image, we'll bring up Oldschool, who's starting some more runs as well. Just defeated the Asylum Demon, but going to be doing the rest of Asylum before jumping over to Firelink. So.
Yeah, so We're gonna see this wall quit out just to break through, which is just very slightly faster in game time than running up and getting the boulder to do it for you. It's actually if you do like a real-time race or something, it's slower to do that, but as everything is timed in game time, there is a bit of you know, optimizing for the timing method.
Yeah. I've always found that an interesting part of, you know, kind of certain games and how they're rooted is, you know, when you're optimizing for IGT versus RTA, because, you know, a lot more modern gaming, RTA is a little bit harder when it comes to, like, you know, differences in powers of, like, you know, PC rigs, and even like when it comes to console stuff, it's always a bit of a tricky thing. So yeah, like when you're actually rooting around minimizing the IGT is it can sometimes, not always, but it can sometimes create very specific routing.
It actually got really bad in like the original release when they originally did Bloodborne, and like when they had the original patch, which had all these really long loading screens, and when initially the rules were sort of just open for like the any % category, and they had quit outs everywhere, and you just like there were sort of 3 quit outs before you'd made it out of the first room, sort of thing. And it was just and you just had that Bloodborne loading screen, which just was the text Bloodborne that stayed up there for like half a minute or something. It was dreadful. Thankfully, loading screens are a little better on in Dark Souls 1.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting part of like certain games do these categories, and I think it's an interesting thing, like how it changes certain things, like the idea of like a no save and quit type deal. And like how you kind of route around these things without quitting back to the main menu, like single segment. You you start a new game and you go until it's over.
Yeah. So, some people try that for Dark Souls. It can be kind of, because the secondary advantage of quitting out is to like de-aggro all the enemies. It can be in a lot of cases where it's just kind of like the optimal strategy if you don't quit out is just to gamble that you'll somehow make it through. And it's just really horrible.
Yeah.
Like some people used to do that lower Undead Berg segment with all the dogs and the assassins without quitting out, but it was just lot of extra resets. So it is kind of like a quality of life thing to actually be able to quit out and de-aggro, because the optimum strategy is still to like do this area. But it's a lot less painful if you can, you know, survive it more often than not, kind of thing. Like sometimes the dogs will still get you. I'm sure we'll see that happening, but it's a lot better than it could be. Let's just say that. And of course, the quit outs allow a bunch of extra skips, like all the death cam skips, all the full control quit out skips.
Yeah, none of those sequence breaks would be possible without them.
Yeah.
Ooh, also got a nice Taurus demon fight.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see someone at some point during this will get the one where Taurus demon just immediately jumps off. That can be really nice. It can be like fake gold split, but yeah, Taurus can actually jump off the bridge. Usually what happens though is it waits until it's like one hit away and then it does the jump off and it's slower.
Because the death animation is very long.
Jump off is just
Ooh.
started.
Yeah, we have a new runner in the arena.
Oh,
yeah, it appears
did
like
we just get a Hellkite death?
Yeah.
Yeah, it appears like Gentoffer has popped in.
Iron
so
as well.
Oh boy, no! He made it.
Oh, no,
he survived. Olsku got the unlucky fire breath. This is actually like even worse. Back when we had route was Black Knight Halberd for all bosses, because you still did this start. You still had to run past Hellkite, and then you had to go and farm the Black Knight Halberd afterwards. So it was like even more waiting. Even more time before you had like just a reset on a 1 in 4 kind of thing.
So Bowie,
So that is.
now that we have Gentov here, who said was the 8th qualifier, but due to the 7th qualifier not being available for this event, has made it into the 7th place. Now they're here to do their runs.
Yeah.
Do they have to do a no reset run first, or will they just jump straight into the grinding?
I'm under the impression that they'll jump straight into the grinding. I think it would be nice if we could get them to do a no reset. That's actually because it was this was discovered and worked out last night. We couldn't, like the tech issues happened last night, so we had to kind of like bring Gent off at last minute. Rather unfortunately for both people because it's kind of hard. So that I will get confirmed with production, and I'll let you know as soon as possible. But a good question to ask.
I like the last split name.
But,
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Imagine finishing a run. Yeah. I agree.
There's a lot of painful truth to that.
Yeah, it's a thing. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I think this is a thing, right? We were discussing it earlier about the mentality of like, how hard it can be if you're so used to resetting. The mentality of putting that aside and just accepting the no reset and just allowing it to happen. Don't get annoyed, don't get frustrated, just do it. Like some people can they get so used to reset it, or get so used to the reset that I think it's refreshing and sometimes actually revitalizing for the run to do no resets every now and then. Maybe not like once a stream when you're doing it, but just like every now and then, just remind yourself, just finish a run, just to see it out and just play the entire game. Because first of all, there's that kind of thing of like in sequence rust. Because like practices is like a thing we all want to do and should do in speedrunning to kind of make sure that we're always up to date. Even if, not if you're maybe like a casual speedrunner just doing it for fun. But if you're wanting to compete and wanting to do that, practice is a thing. But like there's a difference between practice in a vacuum, doing one segment by itself or one boss fight by itself, and then versus doing that whole segment as part of a wider, experience in the run. And I think like no resets can really help that, to be like, all right, what happens if I am under pressure or kind of, it's not the fastest run, but I am ahead, but what do I do to kind of maintain it? And that experience in like no resets can definitely sometimes really help. And especially if you're getting annoyed with the run, you're like, oh, I never see this part of the run. So you do it and you're like, oh, yes, this part of the run. It's nice to see you, friend. Welcome back. And then that part wrecks you as well and you get a bit upset. But, it's just, I don't know. I think it's helpful sometimes.
It's cathartic. Like you said, like speedrunners sometimes need to experience just stringing an entire run together and finishing it off. And just seeing it through. And then, like you said, they'll do it because it just helps with the nerves so that they can like carry through the entire action of like doing an entire run, because there's a lot of nerves sometimes involved with speedrunning, and depends on how experienced people are and just the natures of different people. They might feel those nerves and they might feel those nerves during specific segments. So just to maintain that cool-headedness throughout the entirety of the run. And funny thing is when I was speaking with the runners before this event, I was asking them about their strongest advantages compared to all the other runners. And a lot of people had told me that some of it was like consistency. Some people were saying that, it's just their ability to keep a cool and calm head whenever anything goes wrong in the run. And like I said earlier, decision making is such a huge part of Dark Souls. Something happens, you need to know how to deal with it. As long as obviously not going to kill and reset your run.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I find that this aspect super important. They're super interesting as well, because like I think the reason I kind of have enjoyed kind of being part of Break the Record Live in the past as well is to kind of like see how different communities and different runners as well approach the kind of those two elements of these runs, like how they approach adjusting an any percent or not any percent, like a full blown run, a full like attempt versus what particular things you strip back to make it a little bit safer here and there. Like I was surprised personally, like that in a no reset there were still as many bonfires skipped as there were, because we did see a couple of people get caught unfortunately here and there, and then end up having a massive run back because they didn't grab any of the bonfires. And I was kind of like, I mean, there's that level between the confidence they have to kind of do like all these segments.
Happened to old school again. Yeah, it's Hellkite was one of those bosses that we talked about.
All right.
Or mini bosses.
That's a reset.
Dan going for RTSR and
Yeah, maybe we can pull up
in Sens, so one of the...
yeah, pull up one of Dan or Iron Boy's stream. Which one would you like to see, Duck?
Let's see Iron Boy, because he's a little bit further ahead.
Alright, let's pop up or Iron Boy stream.
Oh, yeah.
Coming up to Logan and Iron Golem. Let's see, does he actually go for the platform strat? No.
Oh, interesting.
So the original, this is what it used to always be like until this other skip was found, is you're just relying on this enemy giving you good RNG, which does an attack that can break the wall. This is still not the way you're supposed to break the wall. There's actually like a whole thing. You're supposed to go up a bunch of stairs and turn a lever which makes a boulder come through. But that's really slow. So, like, yeah, the classic way of doing this was you aggro the snake and some of his attacks can just break the wall. It can be a little scary doing it that way, because if you fail and he does a combo, that's just another reset. And, of course, the fact that you can just... with a lot of these RNG things, you can just watch the time slipping away. So it was really nice when the setup where you land on the cage and then jump and break the wall that way was found, but it is a tricky setup to pull off. And if you get good RNG, then I think it's probably as fast or faster just to use the snake, but it's RNG, so...
I wonder if he's relying on that, or whether later on in the event he'll be switching to the other method of breaking the wall. I'm kind of curious because I think, like, you know, this is the first day of the event. We don't really know what the runners are trying to achieve with the first day. I mean, sure, of course, everyone is trying to break the record, but maybe they're trying to set, like, a pace for themselves first, and with follow-up attempts, they'll just add on to their strats or change them up as they go.
Yeah, I think... I've watched Iron Boy before, maybe not as much as some of the others, but I've generally seen like this looks pretty similar to what I remember of seeing his route. Like he's always done gargoyles late. His routes have always been slightly different to routes that other runners do. So like gargoyles being later is one of the things. I've seen different late game routing as well before, but in this case his late game is slightly different, but it's sort of mandatory based on what he does in the early game, like because you need to do Stray Demon before you can do Gwendolyn and Priscilla. Well, before you can do Priscilla, and when you do Priscilla you want to do Gwendolyn in the same go. And because he does Stray Demon later, that means Gwendolyn and Priscilla have to be like right at the end, whereas a lot of the other runners do Stray, actually all of them I think do Stray early, which means go straight into Gwendolyn and Priscilla, which they do after 4 Kings. It's just a case of like, what RNG do I want to get out of the way fastest, you know? So 4 Kings, let's just do that immediately. At the point where it doesn't matter what order I do things in so much. Like, need to do 4 Kings before Nito and Bed of Chaos, but Gwendolyn and Priscilla can be done at any point. It's just nicest to do them after you've done 4 Kings.
I just like to get rid of the like variability early on in the run.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they just want to get rid of Gwendolyn as soon as you can, get rid of 4 Kings as soon as you can. So that's kind of why it's like 4 Kings, Gwendolyn and Priscilla in most runs. Like if you can put a tricky or more random thing earlier in the route or earlier in the run, it's generally nice.
Yeah. Would you say that overall this is like just an easier route that an easier route that Iron Boy's doing?
In some ways, like doing gargoyles,
just more comfy.
It's definitely more comfy because he gets to do gargoyles with magic, with strong magic, which is nicer than doing it with the bandit knife, which is I think is probably what he's trying to avoid. Is the bandit knife gargoyles fight, which is just not great. It's better with the firebomb setup, but it's still can be kind of random if the gargoyle jumps back a lot. Then you end up with 2 of them close to each other, and in which case it's just like you need a good opening, and so you're waiting on an opening to get some hits in, or you just go for it and hope you don't die. Just more likely what you do, because otherwise you're going to lose too much time.
So speaking of time, we are coming up to the end of our next segment. So we're going to very shortly be taking a quick break, just a 3-minute break. Yeah, when we come back, we'll be continuing the event, of course. But I believe this is kind of the end of our first shift with both Duck and Kermit here. So thank you guys for sitting down with us and kind of commentating and telling everyone about the run. We're going to be seeing you again, of course, though. So yeah. When is your next shift, actually, guys? When are we going to see you next?
Like late this evening for me. I don't know. Kermit.
Yeah. I'm not actually 100% sure. I've got it written down somewhere.
But yeah, we will see you again. But we're going to be joined by, I believe, Red and Capitaine will be joining us afterwards. I'll be hopping off as well, and then Ash will take you through the next hour. But yeah, thanks for watching thus far, guys. As I said, we're going to take a quick break. It's going to be 3 minutes, and when we return, we'll have more of Break the Record Live Dark Souls Remastered for you. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in just a little bit. Cheers.